Femke Bol wasn't even pushing and still ran 1 minute 59 seconds and 96 milliseconds. Femke Bol stepped onto the track in Birmingham with one simple mission. No need to chase a huge personal best, no need to dominate from the gun, and definitely no need to show everything she had, because this was only the beginning. The women's 800 meters at the 2026 European Athletics Championships was packed with attention, and Femke Bol was perhaps the most intriguing athlete in the field. Why? Because the former 400-meter hurdles superstar is now taking on a completely different challenge. 2 laps, no hurdles, and a distance where speed alone isn't enough. In Birmingham, Bol had to prove that she could control an 800-meter race just as effectively as she once controlled the hurdles. And when she crossed the finish line in 1 minute 59 seconds and 96 milliseconds, she had done exactly what she came for. She was through, but the time tells only part of the story. For years, Femke Bol's name was almost synonymous with the 400-meter hurdles. She became one of the most dominant athletes in the event, combining incredible speed, rhythm, and endurance. But now, Bol is moving in a different direction. The 800 meters demands a completely different kind of racing. You can't simply attack from the beginning. You have to manage your energy. You have to understand positioning. And most importantly, you need something left for the final 200 meters. That's where the race becomes painful. But Bol has already shown that she can handle the distance. Earlier in 2026, she broke the Dutch indoor 800-meter record with 1 minute 59 seconds and 7 milliseconds. And later, she showed just how much potential she has by running 1 minute 55 seconds and 60 milliseconds in Paris. Suddenly, the 800 meters didn't look like a side experiment. It looked like a serious new chapter in her career. Then came Birmingham. The European Championships had brought Europe's best athletes together, and the women's 800 meters immediately became one of the events everyone wanted to watch. There were several major contenders: Keely Hodgkinson, Audrey Wirrow, and now Femke Bol. Hodgkinson entered as one of Europe's established 800-meter stars. Wirrow had already shown that she could challenge the very best, and Bol, she was the wild card, a world-class athlete stepping into an event where she was still relatively new. That made her heat especially interesting. Could she stay calm? Could she judge the pace? And could she finish strongly without wasting energy? The gun went, the athletes accelerated away from the line. But Bol didn't look interested in turning the opening section into a sprint. Instead, she settled, smooth, controlled, patient. And that's exactly what you want to see from an athlete running an 800-meter championship heat. There was no reason for Bol to panic, no reason to chase every move. She simply needed to stay in control and make sure she was still strong when the race entered its final stages. As the first lap developed, Bol maintained her rhythm. Her stride looked comfortable, her posture remained composed. And unlike a 400-meter race, she wasn't trying to empty the tank. She was saving something because she knew the final 200 meters were coming. And that's where her natural speed could become a weapon. Then the race started to change. The athletes entered the final part of the race, and suddenly every step became more important. The breathing gets heavier, the legs become tired, and the final straight becomes a test of who has something left. For Bol, this was the moment we wanted to see. Could she produce that familiar finishing speed? The answer was yes. She began to increase the pressure. There was no desperate sprint, no dramatic panic, just a smooth acceleration toward the finish. And then, the clock stopped 1 minute 59 seconds and 96 milliseconds. Under 2 minutes, mission accomplished. Femke Bol had won her heat and secured her place in the semifinals. And perhaps the most interesting thing was how controlled it looked. Now, 1 minute 59 seconds and 96 milliseconds wasn't the fastest time of the round. Keely Hodgkinson ran 1 minute 57 seconds and 28 milliseconds. Audrey Wirrow ran 1 minute 57 seconds and 84 milliseconds. Both looked extremely strong. So why was Bol's performance still important? Because she didn't need to run 157. She didn't need to chase anyone, and she didn't need to reveal her full potential. This was championship qualification. The goal was simple: get through, and that's exactly what she did. The semifinals are where the pressure rises. The final is where the medals are decided, so Bol still had another level to find. Think about how unusual this transition really is. Bol spent years developing herself around the 400-meter hurdles. She learned to attack barriers at incredible speed. She became a champion, and now she's asking her body to run twice around the track without a single hurdle. That means changing the way she races. In the 800, patience becomes just as important as speed. A runner can have incredible finishing ability, but if they waste too much energy early, the final 200 meters can destroy them. Bol appears to understand that. She isn't trying to become a traditional 800-meter runner overnight. She's bringing her own strengths into the event. Her speed, her endurance, her racing experience. And that combination could make her extremely dangerous. And now comes the part fans really want to see. What happens when Femke Bol lines up against the established 800-meter stars with a championship final at stake? Imagine Bol alongside Keely Hodgkinson. Imagine Audrey Werrow in the same race. Three completely different athletes. Hodgkinson has years of experience at this distance. Werrow has incredible 800-meter speed. And Bol brings the explosive finishing ability of a former 400-meter hurdles champion. That creates a fascinating tactical battle. If the pace is fast from the beginning, Bol will have to rely on her endurance. If the race becomes tactical, her finishing speed could become a major advantage. And if everyone enters the final 150 meters together, that's where things could get very interesting. Because Bol has spent years learning how to finish races. Now she gets to use that skill over to laps. The most important part of Bol's Birmingham performance wasn't necessarily the number on the clock. It was the composure. She looked comfortable, she looked patient, and she looked like an athlete who knew there was more available. That's important, because championship racing isn't always about running your fastest time in every round. Sometimes it's about knowing when to push and when to save yourself. Bol saved herself for what comes next, the semifinals and potentially the final. That's where we'll learn just how serious this 800-meter transformation really is. Femke Bol has already achieved almost everything an athlete could dream of in the 400-meter hurdles. So why change? Because sometimes the greatest athletes aren't satisfied with simply staying where they're comfortable. They want another challenge, another event. Another opportunity to discover their limits. And that's exactly what makes Bol's 800-meter journey so fascinating. She isn't starting from nothing. She's starting with world-class speed, elite endurance, and years of championship experience. The only question is, how far can she take it? So on day 2 in Birmingham, Femke Bol ran 1 minute 59 seconds and 96 milliseconds and moved safely into the semifinals. It wasn't the fastest time of the day. It wasn't supposed to be. This was about control. This was about qualification, and most importantly, this was about saving something for the rounds that matter. Because the real test is still coming. Can Femke Bol survive the tactical battle? Can she maintain her pace when the race gets painful? And when the final 100 meters arrive, can that famous finishing speed take her all the way to the medals? We are about to find out. The former 400-meter hurdles queen is now chasing something completely different, an 800-meter championship. And this time, there are no hurdles standing between Femke Bol and the finish line.